I was a child who used to stammer, stutter. I was a child who would be bullied. I was a child who would enter the room of a class of 85 to 100 people, and all of them would start throwing chalks and say, Tommy, 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 Tommy. You don't have any backup, you don't have any background. Ab kya kare? Where I would work in a Pizza Hut or in a McDonald's for 20 bucks an hour. I would sit alone and try and eat my tiffin and think and look around. कोई तो हो जिसके साथ मैं बैठ के बात करूं. So from there to today, where I run a firm, it's perhaps one of the fastest growing law firms in the country. So what do you expect? You know, the lawyer would come in, a fancy high-flying corporate lawyer, typically supposed to be in three-piece suits, cravat, tie. Ulta yaar, you're seeing this t-shirt, jeans, bald-headed, sort of funky-looking chap, right? Typical lawyer? I don't think so. But then life is not typical, is it? Yeah, you know the mantra, they say life mein na bahut sari cheez ideal banana hai. You have to have ticks in the boxes. But can you afford to? What's an ideal life? So let's talk about a phase. I want to divide the construct of success, the mantra, the rules. Can you set by rules? Are there rules to divide into my life's journey? So phase 1. Failure can either make you or break you. So what's been my background? I come from a very average, middle class, very academician-oriented family background in Calcutta. My father is an MSc gold medalist from Allahabad University. My mother's an MSc gold medalist from Banaras Hindu University. And I turn out to be a BA LLB. In our family, it still goes back to say, यार मतलब इंसान जब सबसे ज़्यादा निकम्मा है, कुछ नहीं कर सकता है, तब जाके वो काला कोट वाला बनता है, लॉयर बनता है. But then correct, काला कोट तो दिख नहीं रहा है. But we'll come to that later. My childhood has been very interesting. Why? So, a lot to thank my parents for, because as I said, I come from a background where nothing was privileged. My father, when he decided to leave his job and turn into an entrepreneur and try to do his own things, he was in a situation where he used to do trading of machineries in tea gardens. So he couldn't even afford someone to pick up those machineries. So yaar, khud sar pe leke jaake, he used to go and take it and sell it in places. He would come back home. My mother would have made homemade masala, sealed it in a packet and kept it. He would then go to a kirane ka dukan and sell that to try and make that extra 5-10 minutes. So, 5-10 rupees at that point of time was pretty large. But they gave me the best education they could. I had a fabulous school to go to. But क्या होता है ना, इंसान जब when they're trying to grow up in a particular manner and you see difficulties in a thought process, there are two ways it reacts to you. It could be in a manner to make it stronger. It could also try and make it weaker. Now, जहन में आप क्या लेते हो, किस हिसाब से लेते हो, इंसान का strength and thought process क्या है, depends on various aspects. For me, I was a child who used to stammer, stutter. I was a child who would be bullied. I was a child who would enter the room of a class of 85 to 100 people, and all of them would start throwing chalks and say, Tommy, 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 Tommy. Why? Perhaps they didn't like me. Perhaps they didn't like my look. I don't know. But it would also go across a result in a factor that I would enter into a shell and become completely introvertish, not be able to talk, not be able to speak. I remember days when I would have tiffin where I wouldn't have a single person to have tiffin with. I would sit alone and try and eat my tiffin and think and look around. कोई तो हो जिसके साथ मैं बैठ के बात करूं, कोई तो हो जिसके साथ I can try and share. All of these result in various aspects. It also starts impacting your academics. As a result, I lost a year in class 8. But what did I start with? The essence of this is to say that not every failure is meant to break you. It can also make you. That was my turning point. Why? Things happen. You realize that there are things that you can do to make yourself better. In terms of your morale, in terms of your understanding, in terms of thought process. You also meet sometimes people who you don't even know and recollect, but maybe they play a role of an angel in your life. Somebody in that zone at that point of time similarly perhaps played a role for me. Made me go into a situation where I would start respecting myself. I would start going across and thinking about taking care of myself. I entered a situation where I started playing more sports. I entered a situation where I started working out. I started building my physique. That gave me more confidence. That made me start looking at doing things in a better manner. All of this resulted in a situation to say that by the time I passed out school, the same person who couldn't talk, who would stutter, who would not have a single person to go to in school, suddenly was the most popular chap where everyone wanted to be the friend of. Suddenly was the person who everyone wanted to go and say, यार इसके साथ hang out करते यार, बंदा ना कहीं हमें लेके जाएगा, या फिर यार ये बंदा है, इसी के साथ घूमना है, अच्छा चीज हो सकता है. But that is how the color of the world is. The second phase of my life is overconfidence is the tool for fools. Why do I say so? क्योंकि यार इंसान जब उस जहन में रहता है ना कि यार हम ही हम है, बाकी सब में पानी कम है. यार आप स्कूल में हो और यू हैव टेस्टेड ब्लड, यू आर लाइक दिस लिटिल cub who's tasted blood, सर यार अब तो यार दिस इज व्हाट लाइफ इज ऑल अबाउट. सो यू एंटर कॉलेज विद दैट स्वैग, है ना, एक स्वैग वाला कॉन्स्ट्रक्ट होता है, स्वैग से क्या करोगे हमारा स्वागत एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. कॉलेज डेज वर वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. कॉलेज में यार आई हैव गॉन थ्रू डिफरेंट फेजेस from working in I'm talking about 21 years ago, 2000 odd years, 1999, 2000, where I would work in a Pizza Hut or in a McDonald's for $20 an hour, one free meal. तो यार 5 घंटे काम करो, 100 रुपये आपको दिन का मिल रहा है, फ्री खाना मिल रहा है, क्या चाहिए लाइफ में. I've gone through situations where you would go across and factor in कि यार you're buying a bike, building it up on your own, riding it, thinking यार everything is meant to be the way you're ruling the world. You're very popular, you're winning debates across, you're winning things across. You go and do a lot of internships, and then you say that, yeah, life is meant to be where you will go and there'll be a red carpet laid out to you and say, yeah, आओ, आप ही हो, आप ही के लिए हम इंतजार कर रहे हैं. We're waiting only for you. But that's not life. The rule is always expect the unexpected. So as a result, after all these lovely years of doing things in a manner of cocoon, you land up to a situation where not one of those internships convert into a job. You land up in a situation where you're now living with the fear that you're not going to go across and get a job, and you don't get that for a year. So suddenly, from where you are at the top of your world, the typical SRK style of college life, to suddenly where you're down in the dumps, contemplating, यार अब क्या करें, कहीं तो नौकरी मिल नहीं रही है, माँ बाप वैसे ही बोले थे यार काले कोट वाले निकम्मे होते हैं. And then you go across and factor in, यार चलो call center join कर लेते हैं, at least somebody is earning some good money there. But that's where life goes across and creates a different turn. The third phase of my life is what I would sum it up to say that dependability is the direct proportionate factor to self-belief. Why do I say so? See, life, and as an entrepreneur and as advising several entrepreneurs, let me tell you one very important aspect. Jugaad is a very underrated word, but perhaps the most powerful word to factor in life. Life is all about hustles. It teaches you a lot. Let me tell you a bit about how things were taught to me. So I told you earlier, right? From being in that beautiful bubble life of the perfect college life to come down to a situation where no job, no earnings, no future, not knowing where to go across and factor in. हाथ पैर घिस के कहीं ना कहीं माथा टेक के you might as well think about it and you say यार कहीं ना कहीं तो नौकरी मिल जाए. So my life started and my working career started in Delhi with a princely sum of 3,000 rupees a month. And in that 3,000 rupees a month, I used to live in this hostel where 1,500 rupees was the mess ka bhara and the room ka bhara, where four of us would go across and share that room. And 1,500 bucks would be left with you, for which you'd go to a place called Bengali Market and have rajma chawal, chane chawal, nothing Bengali about it, but fabulous food. And you think the world is yours. यार 1,500 रुपए में आप खाना खा रहे हो 4 बार महीने में, वहाँ पे क्या चाहिए लाइफ में. But then you realize that life is beyond that little bubble to say that यार बहुत कुछ करना है. But opportunity nahi hai. Why? You're not there in terms of a fabulous institution. You don't come from an hallowed institution. You're not coming from some very large place. You don't have any backup. You don't have any background. अब क्या करे? करे तो क्या करे इंसान? यार fight मारना है. You have to try and find your solution. So again, the hustle leads you to a situation where I get a job in this place called Kapashera, which is at the border of Delhi and Gurgaon. Now, Kapashera sounds funny, but yeah, it's also a place where you have all these fancy, farmhouses. One of these farmhouses is where this particular office was. And my salary now was suddenly 6,000 rupees a month, which basically means that I have a situation of a 2x hike. Life is great. But also, as I said, the essence of starting up and doing things in a particular manner is the element of hustle, the element of jugaad. What are the early traits of jugaad? Un dino, the way to travel in Gurgaon used to be the six seaters called Suryas. Some of you may recollect it, some of you may not even have seen it. Our Surya mein, depending on your luck, that which farmer is there with you on that day, you'd also have a co-passenger in the form of a sheep or a goat or some other animal along with you. So यार वहाँ पे बैठ के you realize कि यार you have the chance of them going across and taking a poop on your feet. But then there is this seat at the back of the Surya where you have a 25 to 30% probability of falling down. But if you can hold on, the cost of 10 rupees shifts down to 5 rupees. So you save 50% of your fare. So that's where the jugars in life started from. So I said, चलो यार seat पकड़ के चले जाएंगे. Now from there, 2007 is when I landed up with a job in the country's #1 law firm at that point of time. And I shifted to Bombay. A Bombay story is also very different here. You know, when you go to big places, big organizations, there are a lot of thoughts that happen there. But there's also a lot of discounting because the philosophy of large organizations is also the same thing. कि यार हम ही हम है, बाकी सब में पानी कम है. तो भाई तुमने पहले क्या किया उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? हम जो सिखाएंगे वही सबसे ज़्यादा है. So you land up with a situation where in Bombay those days you believe that 20,000 rupees is a fabulous amount of salary to start with. But no one tells you कि यार बॉम्बे में ना 20,000 रुपए में जब तुम्हारा टैक्स टुक्स काट के आ जाएगा हाथ में 12, 13, 14,000, you'll land up in some semi-chawl. So I land up in this dormitory in Chandanwadi where 25 of us live in one Indian room, one room, one dormitory. And we have one loo to share. So वहाँ का जुगाड़ होता है कि पहले कौन जाएगा और निकलेगा कौन बाहर. So from there to today, where I run a firm, the firm is known as Vertices Partners. It's perhaps, and I would like to believe, one of the fastest growing law firms in the country, specializing in private equity and venture capital. From a place where once upon a time I didn't, I had to choose because those days the thought process was if I indulge, as they call it, in the sutta, I would have to go across and skip the vada pav. If I indulge in the vada pav, I'd have to skip the sutta. To today, where I have a team of 50 people that I pay salaries for, and we are growing at a particular stage. All of this sounds great. It sounds fabulous. But the core on this is self-belief. And that is why what I started telling you about is that if you have to depend on someone, that someone has to be you. So I speak in a lot of forums. One of the things that somebody asked me once, you've built a very good firm, you've built a super successful business, you've gone across and factored in so many things, you've grown at a very, very fast pace. What's the secret? How do you build this? How do you make this entire business plan? And my response to him was it's very simple. Yaar ek kaam karo. Write the list of your most obvious clients. He said, Likh liya, sir. I said, write the list of your most obvious people who will back you in terms of finance or work. He said, Likh diya. I said, write the list of your most obvious team members who will come with you in your journey. He said, Likh diya. I said, now write in terms of your most obvious cash flow for the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and say, यार यहाँ से मेरा इस हिसाब से आएगा. Okay. I said, that's your business plan. He said, sir, ये तो बड़ा simple है. I said, हाँ यार, very simple है. So he said, लिख दिया? Yes. So he was a little surprised. He's looking at me and saying, यार क्या बोल रहा है यार, ये तो मतलब, it's okay. So I said, yeah, have you written everything down? He said, yeah. I said, take that paper, fold it, tear it, throw it away. Now your list of most obvious team is gone. Your list of most obvious supporters is gone. Your most obvious list of most obvious funders is gone. Your list of most obvious work from where you will get is gone. So everything that you thought in your life was most obvious is gone. Can you still take the plunge? Can you still go across and build? Can you still go across and create? And if your answer to that is yes, that is the time you need to go across and say that, yes, I can be somebody who is building a legacy. I am someone who's going across and doing something for that matter. A lot of people today say entrepreneurship is for glamour, for money, for fundraising. Yeah, I've had the fortune of advising the who's who in the startup industry. I've had the advice, the fortune of advising the best of the best founders and the best of the best investors. The most important learning is that it's not a rat race against the world. It's a race against yourself. The 40 under 40s, the 30 under 30s, the awards, the accolades. Beyond a point, what? I have 340 under 40s. I have 4 most influential people awards. I have the best of the best lawyer awards. Then what? 40 साल तो मेरा हो गया अभी. Now do I start thinking, yeah, 50, 60, 70? It doesn't end. Where you need to take a pause and say, yes, am I grateful for where I am today? Am I grateful for this team? Am I grateful for the ability to say that I can provide for salary instead of asking for salary? The hand to be here versus the hand to be here, there is a huge amount of difference. So my friends, there is no set rule. There is no specific mantra. There is no key aspect in terms of saying that if I do these ticks in the boxes, if I have these ducks in a row, I am successful. The most important and the most fundamental element of success, believe in yourself, love what you do what you love, and do it with absolute passion. Because एक टाइम के बाद ना पैसा सबके लिए एक पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम के बाद मीनिंगलेस हो जाता है. रोटी आप उतना ही खाओगे, कपड़े आप वही पहनोगे, उतना ही आप वक्त देखोगे. But then it's your zeal that takes you ahead. Thank you.
Josh Talks is now a Spotify exclusive podcast. The audio version of our talks will be available only on Spotify. If you like this video and you like to listen to more inspiring stories like this, please follow the Josh Talks podcast only on Spotify.
क्योंकि आप जोश टॉक्स देख रहे हैं, जाहिर सी बात है कि आप अपनी जिंदगी में आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं. ये जाहिर सी बात है कि आप अपनी जिंदगी को सीरियसली लेते हैं. आप वो सारे स्किल्स एक्वायर करना चाहते हैं जिससे आप जिंदगी में तरक्की कर सकें, लोगों से आगे बढ़ पाए. और अगर ये सच है तो जोश टॉक्स का ही एक ऐप है जोश स्किल्स, जहां एग्जैक्टली इसी चीज को करने के लिए बहुत ही खूबसूरत बहुत सारे कोर्सेज बनाए गए हैं. कोर्सेज जो लाखों स्टूडेंट्स ऑलरेडी ले चुके हैं. ये कोर्सेज स्पेसिफिकली सिर्फ एजुकेशनल नहीं है जहां आप एक्सेल स्किल्स, पावर पॉइंट स्किल्स और ये सब सीख सकते हैं, बल्कि लाइफ स्किल्स भी हैं जहां आप पब्लिक स्पीकर कैसे बना जाए वो सीख सकते हैं. आप कॉन्फिडेंस कैसे एक्वायर कर सकते हैं वो सीख सकते हैं. आप हेजिटेशन के बिना कैसे बोलें वो सीख सकते हैं. आप अपनी पर्सनालिटी कैसे डेवलप कर सकते हैं वो सीख सकते हैं. हर एक कोर्स में डेली क्विजेज हैं, एक्सरसाइजेज हैं, एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत कम्युनिटी है जो आपको सपोर्ट करेगी, आपको इनकरेज करेगी. तो अगर आपको ये टॉक पसंद आया हो, जोश टॉक्स जो करता है वो पसंद है, तो आपको जोश स्किल्स भी बहुत बहुत ही फायदेमंद लगेगा. आज ही डाउनलोड करें जोश स्किल्स का ऐप और उनके कोर्सेज एक्सप्लोर करके अपनी जिंदगी को आगे बढ़ाएं.
Tell us what you think about this video and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.